Hey, Bio 115 students, how are you all doing today? This is your instructor, Karen Klein. This is our first lab together. Isn't this awesome? What a great way to start the semester. And that is a lab about the scientific method. Because it's our first lab and you're seeing it in this format, I just wanted to clarify a few things for you, kind of give you the skinny, the lowdown, the scoop. And one of those is right off the bat, I'd like to apologize for the sound isn't that great, but it's the best that I have. So sorry if it sounds a little tinny. Second of all, this is live and I'm not really able to do a lot like with pausing, and I definitely don't edit. So you'll hear me kind of maybe make a few mistakes, or you'll hear some sounds in the background like dogs barking or snoring and birds whistling and talking, or just other people at the door, my phone ringing. It's all part of live TV, right? So that's like from the technical end. But what this is and why I'm making videos of me doing these virtual labs is because some of you may have terribly slow internet connections, and it makes doing these virtual labs at home pretty much impossible. And so as a courtesy, what I've done is I've made these videos for you. If you want to do these on your own and fill out the question sheet, you are more than welcome to. They're kind of fun to poke around and do all this neat stuff with. But again, if you can, I don't want you to have to drop the course or lose points. And so that's why I'm filming this video. And what you should do, a few things, is before you start the lab, you should read through it. Download the attached sheet and read through it for all of the background, because I'm not really going to go through the background information verbatim. A lot of that information is also presented in the other material for the course during the week, so you should familiarize yourself with the terminology before we begin the lab. And the procedure is that you download that sheet. You could print it out, but it seems a little redundant. It's download it to your computer and then follow along as I go through it. And then you'll be answering questions on that sheet and filling out tables and etc. And you'll want to fill those out, and that is what you are handing in through the submission link as far as your lab points for that particular lab. You'll notice that the questions are highlighted in yellow, though that's what you are required to address or answer. Now, when there is a question that's posed or a table you need to fill out, I don't myself pause to allow you to answer a question. Instead, what you should do is, if you need time to answer a question, just pause the video and go over to it and go to your sheet and answer it. Yeah, so I think that's it. So anyway, let's just go ahead and start. So you should see the lab itself, the scientific method lab, the Microsoft Word document. But what you're looking at is you're looking at the actual virtual lab through Macmillan. You see the empty lab bench and the equipment that we're going to use up here. Now, one thing that you can't see, and unfortunately I can, is that the bar, the recording bar, kind of covers some things up. And so I might have to kind of move the lab around in order to see what's behind it. All right, so why don't we get started? Hey, the scientific method, again, trusting you've already read through this. Just kind of a brief overview. The scientific method is the way that scientists approach answering some sort of a scientific problem, or just any problem out in the world around them. They observe a phenomenon in nature and they ask a question about it. And then they guess at what that answer may be, like an educated guess. We call that an hypothesis. Then one would design an experiment to test that hypothesis, keeping in mind that it's not just any old experiment, but it must have certain parameters to it, like dependent and independent variables. You must be able to replicate the experiment. There must be a control. You must have a robust representation of like number of test subjects. You also have to be sure that you are controlling as many extraneous variables as you can. Now, the scientific question of the day, or the observation, I should say, of the day, that you're going to actually test here in our virtual laboratory has to do with mice, as far as mice and their diet. Now I'm here at the bottom of page 3. You see procedures. Experiment 1, find the best mouse diet for weight gain. So what you're trying to do is you have, you're a laboratory researcher and you want some mice to gain weight quickly, and you have to choose between 2 types of food in order for them to do that. You're not sure if sliced apples or cooked macaroni is going to allow that mouse to gain the most weight. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to test this hypothesis. I'm on step, actually, okay, so I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself, is in number 1 at the bottom of page 3 under experiment 1, find the best mouse diet for weight gain. You see that that is highlighted in yellow. That means you need to answer that, fill that in, write your hypothesis here. So write your hypothesis. What do you think? Is it cooked macaroni or is it apple slices? Okay, I'm going to read through this. We're going to take a light box and a balance from the instrument shelf and place them on the workbench. We'll take the mouse cage from the container shelf and place it onto the workbench. We're going to zero out the balance by putting the mouse cage on the balance and pressing 0 until it reads, so it reads 0. And then we're going to put the mouse in the cage, because that way it only weighs the mouse in the cage. It doesn't weigh everything that's in the cage. Now, once the mouse is weighed, you're going to, and if you look at the bottom of your page 4, you see table 1, the mass of the mouse before it's being fed. That's where you want to put that weight. So let's go ahead and let's do that. All right, we have our light box right here. We have a balance right there. Here's our mouse cage. Oh, we're going to put that on the balance, and we're going to zero that out. So now it reads 0, and then we're going to take the mouse and put the mouse in there, and you see this reading right here. You might want to pause that. Oh, mouse just went back into his house. Oh, now he's out. He's kind of cute. This weight here, you're going to put in the first row on table 1. This is the mass of the mouse before we feed it. All right, so let's take the cage off of the balance. Now, what is our first or our next step? Okay, take a petri dish from the container shelf and place it on the workbench. Take cooked macaroni from the material shelf and put it in the petri dish. Place a petri dish of food into the mouse cage and move the cage into the light box. Hopefully, my little pea brain's going to remember all that. So, okay. Petri dish. Great. Now, unfortunately, I can't see the macaroni. There it is. Okay. Macaroni. All right. And petri dish in here. And put this in here. And then we're going to press start. Oh, he's eating. Look at him go. Nom, 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 nom. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to set the timer. There it is. 1 minute. Start. There we go. Okay, my bad. I hope I don't have to start this video over again. All right. Oh, it's for a day, not an hour. Okay, move the cage in the light box. Use the up and down arrows. Say press start. Okay. Remove the cage. Okay. When it reads 0, remove the cage. Are we at 0 yet? Whoops. Oh, it's at 0. Okay. Let me see what we do next. Remove the cage once it's read 0. In the virtual lab, you can assume the cage is clean, the water bottle is washed and refilled, and the balance is, and on step 14, is re-zeroed out. You do not need to perform those cleaning. Remove the dish of food from the cage and put the cage on the balance. Okay, it's going to take that out. Whoops, where's the Petri dish? Come, all right, Petri dish, come on. Petri dish. Sorry, bud, taking your food away. So now we're going to put the cage back on the balance because this will weigh the mouse. Okay, here is the weight of the mouse now that it's eaten the macaroni, right? You want to record that on table 1 in the second row. Massive mouse after being fed for 1 day, underneath the cooked macaroni. Sorry, I just have to do a little change here. This is not you. Just give me a second. So whatever that weight is, and then what you want to do is subtract the mass of the mouse after it was fed from before it was fed, and that's the net gain of the mouse. That's in the third row in that first column. All right, very good. Okay, so we're going to put this back down. All right, good. And we have to get rid of the waste and put the Petri dish in the sink. And now what we want to do is, where are those apple slices? There it is. Okay, now we're going to test the apple slices. There we go. Whoops. Didn't let me do that, did it? It did not. That's because I forgot to get the Petri dish. Petri dish. Apple slices. Into the cage. Into the light box. And there we go. Eat up, kiddo. Let's eat those apple slices. Oh, I think we're done. We are done. Okay. And we're going to take that out. Where's the Petri dish? Come on, where's the Petri dish? We have to take the Petri dish out. Come on, take out the Petri dish. Nope, we don't want to take that out. Come on. Did run the experiment, right? No, come on, let me take out the Petri. There we go. Now let's weigh. Oh my, there we go, 40.6. There you go. Okay, so what you want to do is record that in table 1. There we are. And do the math. And after the table, there is a question for you to answer. Number 19, answer the question based on your data. What are your conclusions as to which food is most effective as adding mass to the mouse? Did you prove or disprove your hypothesis? Okay. All right. Well, that being said, that's the end of our experiment, and that is using the scientific method in order to determine the answer to a problem. What you also want to answer, I'm sorry, there is a number 20. I just saw that. Number 20 is asking you, what you know about the scientific method and the different steps of the scientific method. What were some of the drawbacks to this? And what I want to cue you in on is that You know that in any given scientific experiment, there should be an independent and a dependent variable. There should be a control. You should have lots of different replications. So think about that. You tested the apple versus the macaroni, but was there a control for this experiment? And what would that control have been? I'm kind of giving you the answer that there wasn't. Also, we only did it once on one mouse. That seems problematic. So how would you design this experiment in order to make it a better experiment? So that is question number 20. So answer that as well. And then go ahead and once you have those questions filled out and the table filled out, you can submit that to Submission Link, and that is your lab. Those are for your lab points for this particular lab. Okay, that's it for now. I hope this went well for you, and everybody take care. See you later. Until next time. Bye.